Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Thales Peterson. I am the host of the 1% Club podcast. And today is a very special episode. Is someone that I can say that is a friend and also an amazing, amazing professional. And when I prepare the episode, I go through the person's resume and all the things that they have accomplished. And this one took me a while to go through everything because this guy has been around the block. He has coached at basically every level possible, from youth academy to high school to college to pro to playing professionally as well, to national team, to youth national teams, to senior national teams. So his resume is quite impressive, and it's a pleasure to have him here and to share his knowledge, his lessons from coaching at the highest possible level to us here, or someone who is on the journey of constant improvement. And he is someone that does what he loves for a living. Ever since I met this guy way, way back in the day when I first moved to California, I believe that was around 2006, more or less. Every
Mm.
time I see this guy, he has the biggest smile on his face. He's very, very upbeat, and it's someone that he can make his presence known from a mile away. It's a pleasure to have you here. Claine Plummer, my friend. Thank you so much.
Dallas Peterson, thanks for having me. Looking forward to this conversation. Looking,
Awesome, awesome. So when I first moved to California back in 2006, that's when I met Claine. Claine was the PE teacher at one of the schools that we used to use the field,
mhm,
Marshall, back in Pasadena.
mhm.
And we developed a very, very good relationship that started years and years ago. And we will get to that point eventually in our conversation. But where I would like to start, Claine, is where did you grow up? How was growing up? How did you start playing soccer? Is it a family thing? Do you have anyone that you can recall from like an early memory that pushed you to do it? How did you first get involved?
Mhm. Well, first of all, good morning and thank you for having me. And my journey is quite interesting. I mean, like everybody's journey is interesting and unique. Like Tal said, my name is Claine Plummer. I was born in Limon, Costa Rica. Born and raised in Limon, Costa Rica. Stayed in Limon until I was 17 years old. Um, from there, I had a goalkeeper that was part of the senior national team. Sorry, a goalkeeper by the name of Alfredo Whitaker. He was the senior keeper in the pro team, and I was in the youth. And one day, my state team had the opportunity to play the final. And we had the opportunity to train in the pro facilities the day before the actual match. And he was training there, and we're all in awe of looking at him. And oh my gosh, that's Fredo Whitaker. And then
Yeah.
in the middle of practice, he just came up to me as we were training already. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, I think you have a future in the sport." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." This is the senior guy saying that. And the rest of the other kids were like, "Oh, okay, right."
So
And
you are at this point, you are playing for just your state team, or you are already on the national team?
no, state team.
Okay. Wow.
Team.
Okay.
Um, and then he proceeded to give me my first pair of goalkeeper gloves that had no holes, and my first pairs of goalkeeper pants because the fields were just terrible. It was more dirt than grass. And he put
Wow.
my first pair of goalkeeper pants so I didn't scrape myself and says, "You know what? Good luck to you." And that really feels
Motivated you.
like, wow, someone outside of my friends or my family saw something more than probably I didn't see myself to believe that I could go beyond of what my imagination could go. And that's how it started. And then my local coach, that same coach in the team that I played for, he came up to us and said after that a word, a phrase that always stayed in my mind.
Yeah.
It is not a sin to dream. It is not a sin to dream. Always shoot to the stars because
Mm-hmm.
if you cannot catch the stars, you can at least catch the moon on the way down. Always shoot high. And that stayed in my head since a young man at 16, 17 years old. And that's how my journey started. And then from there, I went into my U18 and U19 and U21 national team of Costa Rica. And then the rest is history. I had an opportunity to get a soccer scholarship at Cal State University, and that's when I moved back in 1992 to Los Angeles. And that's,
Okay. Okay. Wow. We'll get into the move to the US. So at 16, 17, and guys, for the ones that are just listening here, for the ones who can watch, how tall were you at this point already at 16, 17? Because Claine is a big, big boy. How tall are you now, and how tall were you back in that day?
well, today's standards, I am 6'3".
Okay.
Back then, when I was 16, 17, I was probably 5'11", 6 feet. But then I
Oh
was
wow. Okay.
very
Okay. So he the senior, the Whitaker, you said?
now, Alfredo Whitaker.
He really he saw something just beyond the size, because it's not like you were pure size at the time. You had a lot of skills.
It was okay. Skinny, it was fast. Didn't have a lot of skill per se, but I was very agile, and I would get to the balls. I don't know how, but I would get there just by my pure determination not to get scored on. But yeah, I was a skinny, lanky, quick, tall goalkeeper. So
Did you always play goalkeeper?
no, no, believe it or not, my passion as far as sports outside of football or soccer is cycling. So
No way.
BMX. Oh yeah, I used to do BMX or cycling. I love bicycles.
Yeah.
Was my first sport. But then, it was a quite expensive sport, to be a cyclist. So the
Yeah.
most popular sport was to play football. I mean, if you did not play football in my neighborhood, something wrong with you. So
You were a weirdo.
you're weirdo. So you had to play. So I like goalkeeping because the goalkeeper at the time got hurt. And the team that I played a little bit as a forward, very, very little.
Yeah.
And I always liked the idea of putting on the gloves. It was like nice to me. It felt good. And that's how my journey as a goalkeeper started.
And the journey. Talk me through a little bit more, because you said the senior goalkeeper, he was the first one that gave you your first pair of gloves that didn't have any holes in
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
and also your first pair of pants. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how growing up in such an environment shaped you, not only to develop more of the technical skills, but also what a lot of kids don't realize here in the US, this is where we are at this point recording this, is a lot of kids, I feel, and it's sorry to call it out, but they are spoiled because they don't know what they have and what other people did not have and still don't have. So
Mhm.
can you walk us through how that was?
Well, Costa Rica, Limon, one of the poorest cities in Costa Rica. Costa Rica has a lot of poor cities, but we are is poor. So for those of us who wanted to play a sports, a lot of the equipment, you'll start with the equipment that we used to get, it was hand-me-downs, you know?
Okay.
Somebody would hand you down shoes that they don't have anymore and or couldn't use anymore. And somehow we find a way to refurbish them. If they had a hole, we would take them to El Zapatero and,
Yeah,
set
yeah.
them up. Or if you didn't have money to take them to the shoe place to fix, we used to use electric tape, the black one or the green one, and tape because it was like an alligator mouth in the tip of your shoe. So you used to tape it, and that's how you played.
It would
Uh,
last longer with that.
oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you have one shoe tape and the other one was still good, or mismatched shoes. That's what we had. So we could say we had two pair of cleats. As far as goalkeeper gloves, it was too expensive. My parents didn't have the money to buy. Like today, I see gloves like $100, 50, $60 gloves. I mean that those
And
$100,
a few of them, right? Not just one.
it would be the equivalent of having, say, 10 days of food on the table for our family. So either buy your
Wow.
goods or four of us eat at
Yeah.
the table. So that was not a question to even think about it, food or gloves.
Mhm.
So a lot of the gloves were like from other goalkeepers that were in the pros or they were privileged and they would like drop the gloves, or sometimes they would leave it, they would look at it as trash, you would pick them up and hopefully you pray that is your size and you put them on and you sew them and did something. So they were more like BMX gloves because the foam were
Yeah.
gone, but
Yeah.
we had the idea of having the gloves with the design up top. So and then
Wow.
yeah, so as far as feels, oh yeah, feels that it was more dirt or dust than anything
What's
else.
grass, right?
Grass, only in
Yeah.
the corners, in the corner kicks. You
Yeah.
find some parts of grass. But yeah, the rest of it, it um was dirt and not very even, but that's the best that we had. And we had to make the best out of it if we wanted to play the beautiful game. So that's how I was growing up. In comparison to today, I see how blessed a lot of kids are in certain clubs where they have really plush fields. I mean, amazing fields. And some of them come on the field and they complain, oh, are they going to water the field? I'm like, oh, water the field. Back home, we did not even have a water sprinkling system back in the best field we were hoping it would rain, and that was it. And now it was dry the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys that are in the position to have good fields, consider yourself very blessed. Because from my personal experience and from the experience from other places that have been, not even close of how good you guys have it. So,
Not even close.
not even-
Yeah, a lot of kids don't realize
yeah,
what they have and the conditions that other countries live in,
yeah,
and the training environment and what you were saying, like all the equipment that we got was hand down from someone that didn't really need anymore, and just yeah, here you go.
yeah.
What's the saying? Someone's trash is someone else's treasure.
You are size 11, size 11 and a half. You find a pair of shoes that are size 10 and a half. You make it work.
You
Even
make
if
it work.
you make it work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Close
And
enough.
Claine, so what's the next step in your career? So you are 16, 17. So how do you sign to now? Are you playing for a professional youth academy? How are you scouted to go and represent your country?
Well, no, back then, yeah, there was clubs. There was no
Yeah,
academy, but there was clubs in my city.
yeah,
And I was one of many clubs that were in the city because most boys between the ages of 3 to 19, they play football, they play soccer. We
yeah,
played.
yeah,
So I played in my local team that was in the neighborhood next door called Corrales by the great coach Julio Falcon, who gave me that famous phrase, shoot to the stars. If you cannot catch the stars, at least catch the moon on the way down.
yeah,
That phrase came about because there was a notification that the scouts of the federation was going to come a particular Saturday to scout out players from my age group. And I remember when he mentioned, they said, we're looking for certain players. Let's gather, da 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 da. And then he reached out to me and said, hey, Claine, I think you have the conditions to go try out, so that you could be seen by the national team coaches. And I'm like, me?
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, go, go. And I remember, like it was yesterday, the day of the tryouts, I showed up to the stadium with no intention to try out.
Were you there just to watch?
I just showed up with my bicycle, sat
See
down,
what's up?
and the guys were warming up. And, they send out, there's going to be four goalkeepers, X amount of players so they can make the teams. And my name was there, but I was not confident enough in my own skill
Wow. Okay.
to try out. So I sat at the stadium. Then my coach showed up. And he sat in the stadium because he wants to see the few players that he sent down try
Yeah.
out.
How are
And
they
he goes,
doing? Yeah.
why are you not warming up? And I'm like, I ain't gonna go do that. And he's like, why not? It's like, I'm not gonna make a ASS of myself down there. I don't think I'm ready for this, da 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 da. And he says that's the problem that we have a lot in our town, that a lot of people have very mediocre mindset. He says, if you do not go out and try out, this is the last day that you play in my club. Right?
Wow. Like
So
an ultimatum. Yeah.
it was an ultimatum, was put against the wall.
Yeah.
And not to play soccer on a weekend is is the worst thing that could happen to a lot of us that play soccer. So I basically because of that ultimatum, got onto my bicycle. I lived like a mile and a half away, rode my bike. That was my warm up. Little rode my bike, put on my clothes, rolled back, and I was ready to go. And I got
Yeah.
in right before the warm up started, the game started, and I started playing. I started doing my thing, started making saves. And one of the trainers, there's a local trainer.
Yeah.
Back then, we used to carry water and bags, little plastic bags that you rip.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I
We don't
remember
have
those.
no Gatorade bottles or Powerade, the blue ones. No
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
thing. With
You
plastic
bite
bags.
into the plastic, you
Uh-huh.
spit it out, and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he came up and ran right behind my goal to drop off two waters to me. And basically he whispered, "Hey, keep going, keep going. The coaches are talking about you." Right? I said,
Oh, wow.
"Hey, all right." And then at the end of the tryouts, they showed up to me, and out of all the kids that were there, there's two players that they pull aside, and I was one of them. And they asked me, we're very interested in this. Can we get the phone number of your parents? We would like to give you an opportunity to have a national trial with all the best six goalkeepers of my age group
That
to
were already selected.
that are
Yeah.
from other cities
Yeah.
to come try out. And uh, the timing was perfect because 3 weeks prior to that is when I had my brand new pair of gloves and my brand new pair of pants, and that's what I took to the tryouts. The local coach there bought me a pair of cleats because the ones that I had the electric tape, so I didn't show up to the Capitol looking all raggedy.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to tryouts, and from there I was selected to be in the national team of back in 1989. Yeah, the U18 national team, and
Wow.
the rest was history, and that's how I made a club. At that time, I was not signed with any club, as far as
Yeah.
professionally. From that point, from that national teams, is when the top clubs, especially the clubs in the capital, they start looking at that local talent that comes from the rural areas
Yeah.
and say, I'm interested in this kid, and they want to offer you to sign a contract. But it didn't come to that point for me.
It
Uh,
did not come.
no, 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 no. We went to a tournament. I was still a youth player.
Yeah.
We went to a tournament in Cancun, Mexico, and it just happens to be that we won that tournament for our age group, and there was a coach that was there,
Yeah.
and he reached out and said, "Hey, if you and another friend of mine, if you ever interested to come and play soccer in the United States collegiately, we could give you a full ride scholarship." And he gave me his card and reach out if you're interested. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm already in the position because I have offers on the table to be a professional soccer player.
Yeah. Yeah.
About the new car I'm going to buy, the new bicycle I was going to get. I'm going to live in the capital, live in large, da da da. And what happens is that my mom is a high school teacher. She values education more than
Yeah.
anything. So, hey, we came back home, happy about winning the tournament. It came out in the newspaper, blah, blah, blah. And I gave her the card. Oh, by the way, this coach, da, 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 reached out and said, and she's like, really, seriously? And they reached out behind my back to the coach and
Your
said,
parents did.
yes,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
wanted to confirm, is this true? Is this offer for real? He says,
Yeah.
it has the grades. Soccer wise, I have no doubt that he could come ahead the program, but if he had the grades, we would love to offer him a full ride scholarship. And I was like, and basically that's how I end up moving to the United States. The offer was set on the table, it was official, and within 2 weeks, Dallas, I had a professional contract on the table and I offer a letter of intent for the University of Cal State University at the same time.
Wow.
And I remember my mom, she had the paper and she put her hands on top of the scholarship and says, I hope you make the right decision.
No pressure.
So and that's how I end up moving to the US to play
Wow.
soccer.
It
Um,
it's go ahead, sorry.
no, no, no. Moved to collegiate soccer, and my plan was I'm just going to go 1 year to the United States just to appease my mom. I went to college and went back to me because the coach or the two teams back then says, "Hey, if you come back within a year, this offer that we offer you will still stand. We will
Still be
still."
valid.
I said I go, and then I come back and say it didn't work out for me. I didn't like the U.S., and I come back and I play professional soccer and never went back. Still here.
Wow. Wow. As you're saying, as you're describing things, I get goosebumps here because it's so funny we go back and we tell our history, and when we are able already to connect the dots, looking back at what happened,
Mhm.
that to me, you can really see how there is a plan. There is a
Mhm.
bigger plan that we are part of. And
Mhm.
really quickly here, just based on what you told me just now, Coach Julio tells you, hey, shoot for the stars, or sorry, shoot for the sky,
Shoot to the stars.
shoot to the stars, and you might be able to catch the moon on the way back. So
Yeah.
basically, aim for something big. So
Mhm.
that stuck with you. And the same guy now, right? Same Coach Julio is there and
Mhm.
telling you, hey, what are you doing in the stands? You got to
Uh-huh.
go try
Mhm.
out. So
Mhm.
because you go try out, you are seeing, you get that opportunity that develops into a scholarship, and we'll get into how you came to the US. But it's so amazing how nothing happens by coincidence. If Coach Julio isn't part of your life,
Mhm.
maybe we're never having this conversation here today.
I
And
agree.
it's
100.
something that I love talking about, is our first influences just outside of family, because our family, obviously they want what's best for us, they're biased, but someone that says something so deep, so profound, that really sticks with you for decades after. So
Mhm.
would you say that Coach Julio changed your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because I said he had a vision for me,
That you
he
couldn't
saw
see
in me, I
yourself.
couldn't see myself. Um, uh, and one thing I want to say, I want to put a little parenthesis into this, is that sometimes a lot of the youth players here in this country, they feel that profound words come from people that have made it high up. Like if you were a top club around the world, his words have more value than any coach that coaches AYSO or anything like that. Oh, who
Yeah,
are you? Tell me, where did you play?
yeah, yeah. Or their club
So
coach. Yeah.
yeah, like, who you? And I would say that this coach never went beyond coaching U16 team his entire life. He did it because he
Wow.
loved getting kids out of the street. Never had any license. They didn't have any background of, development for as a coach and this or the other, or licenses. None of that. But
Yeah.
he had a passion and a love for, hey, we're going to help these kids through soccer to go beyond being in the streets or being in a gang or getting into trouble. And to this day, I go home and I visit my mom. And then the next person I go see is Julio. I say, hey, bring him a little jersey or something, and we talk, we chat, and talk about his favorite team, which is Saprissa, and all that good stuff. But he never went beyond. But his words still stuck to this day. He
Wow.
was not a big time coach, so respect your coaches, whichever level. So but everybody has something to offer. That's what I'm trying to say about that.
No, and that's absolutely right, because we feel like, that's the thing that I like talking about too, is, guys, success doesn't happen overnight. It's a matter of years and years in the making. And just listen to the advice that coaches are giving you, and especially to your case, your position is very, very specific. There is a goalkeeper coach, so listen, really pay attention to the advice, to the coaching points that they're giving you, because the new generation, also because of the immediate gratification and all the other things that we'll get into a little later, is they feel like they know it all, and they're gonna get it right away. And if I'm not happy today, next week, next month, it's, oh, I quit, I go somewhere else, I'm gonna do something else. And you have to stick to the plan. You have, especially as a goalkeeper, you have to master the basics. So great, great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, no, no. I'm good for now. Something will
Okay,
come up to mind.
awesome. So let's move forward now, and you go to the national team. You have an opportunity to come to the US. Your mom, without any pressure but pressuring, says, yeah, make the right choice. So you decide to come to the US.
Mhm.
So how did you come? Did you come completely by yourself? Did you have any family here? Did you know anyone? What was the initial thought? Like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving my country. I'm going for just a year. I'll be back in no time. Talk us through how that decision really came to be.
Okay. So obviously, make the right decision was a big, if you look at this story right here, was put against the wall twice. One by my coach.
Yeah,
If you go try out, you're done. You make the right decision. If not, you are going to do something else, but you cannot live under my roof, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so basically, I decided to come to the US with a lot of help. It was not an easy decision, but I came to live with an aunt in New York first because my scholarship would start in the fall, which is September,
Yeah.
uh, back in those years. But I needed to pass a very important test, which is the TOEFL test.
Okay.
It's your equivalency test. My
Yeah,
English is
yeah.
terrible. I could not speak English. If you could hear me back then,
No way, really.
three little words: dog, cat, all the bad words. I knew them.
Yeah, yeah.
I said grammar, write it, zero. So I was sent in January to spend 6 months in this intense English institute in New York called Long Island University. And interesting enough, when I went there as a student, there was a top MLS player in the making who was a player there at that university. His name is Giovanni Savarese, who played for the MLS, and lately he was
Oh,
coaching.
Gio Sabaresi that became a coach later?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
He
Okay.
went to LIU, and then the coach was Costa Rican. I did not know that. And then when he found out, he invited me to come as a goalkeeper. Obviously, I had my skills from the national team. Wanted to recruit me there, but I was already committed to come to California. So that did not work out. Then I moved uh, around July to come to California and start as a freshman at Cal State University, and that's how it came about, how I came to LA. So I had an aunt that lived here, and here in California, I had an uncle that lived in Altadena,
Okay.
and that's where he hosted me, and they understood the situation. He hosted me, and the school was taken care of, and that's how I moved. I had family support around, and I moved by myself. There was no parents or something, just uncles, aunts, and
Yeah.
uncles that pitched in and helped out me being here in the United States.
And the next chapter is uh, playing college soccer and living in, did you live in the dorms?
Uh, no, the first year I lived with my uncle. I
Oh,
lived
the whole, okay, the whole time you were with him.
my uncle. Until my junior year, I had the opportunity to move. There's some roommates, some teammates that wanted to rent a house. And with part of the scholarship, I was able to use that instead of paying the dorms. I was able to, because the freshmen and sophomores were not allowed to leave off campus unless you live in your house. You couldn't live
Okay.
alone. So,
Okay.
in my junior, senior year, I was able to move to the city of Alhambra, which is very close by. And then from there, I lived in a household with like four other roommates in a house that we rented. And that's how it was.
And how about the soccer experience, the soccer side first, and then we'll go into the academic side as well. Talk us to the beginning, getting to college and the training and like for the ones just a little context, maybe you can give us a little more even. How were the rules back in the day? Did you play throughout the whole year? Were there seasons? You play in the fall, you play in the spring? What do you do in the winter? What do you do in the summer? Take us through that journey, please.
I would say that back then there was not as many options as there is today for a
Yeah.
lot of college players. Um, Basically, I had a fantastic freshman and junior year, freshman and sophomore year in college. Started both years, everything was fine. I had all these records and shutouts and games per game, and I did not know anything about stats back then. I just played the game and had fun. And Then when the season was over, because college season is just so short, you go
Yeah.
from captain's practice in August all the way to November, and if you're lucky, you could go to playoffs. Everything is done by Thanksgiving, pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh, and those years we did not go beyond the second round of playoffs, so we were done by Thanksgiving. And then by then, after from November, December, you don't do pretty much, and then in January, Division two schools they have a spring season, but it's not as extensive as like for example, a Division one school. So we had a program that we go, but I did not pretty much play much. I did a lot of training, a lot of personal growth. One of the things that I used to put into my head is I need to learn how to side volley a ball, and
Mm-hmm.
go to a park, and there in Pasadena, and go to the backdrop of the pitcher's mount.
Yeah.
There's a layer of wood, and then the fence that goes up. I used to climb that fence and tie a T-shirt and come back down. And then behind the
That
pitch,
was your target.
that was my target to hit the trajectory of that ball over and over again. And that's what I did on my own because no one taught me how to side volley. And I used to see these goalkeepers that would catch a ball and just hit these delicious balls 50, 60 yards at the chest of the guy. I'm like, I want to do that. But it
Oh,
had,
I've seen you do that. I've seen now, and it's really
thank you.
good.
Yeah, thank you. But that was something that I had in myself that I had no one to teach me, but I'm not going to wait for somebody to teach me. I'm going to self-taught myself how to do it because it's a necessity of mine if I want to be uh, have any type of exit. No, sorry, success
Yeah.
uh, in this sport as a goalkeeper because distribution is a weapon that a lot of top goalkeepers had, and I didn't have it. So I did not play like, you have these PDL leagues that a lot of college players after the season they join and UPSLs and there was no such thing back then. It's basically your own training, your own doing your things, trying to stay active and busy and wait until August of the next year to start over again. So I did not had a lot of off-season play, but a lot of self-growth and motivation where I was active, working on something that I want to improve so that I can introduce it in the following year in my soccer season.
And for everybody listening here, please pay attention to what he just said is even when you don't have a team, when you don't have a regular practice scheduled, he was looking for ways to improve himself. So going to the park on his own, training, setting up a target, and being real about the skills that he wanted to acquire, but he didn't have that yet. So humbly knowing that and working on getting better. That's
Mhm.
something that I see a whole lot nowadays is the development, the skills development and the acquirement of the skills. It takes time. It takes a lot of repetition. And if you are, let's just talk about the guys that are playing club right now, 2 or 3 times a week, and maybe you're playing MLS Next or ECNL. Maybe you do 3 to 4 times, maybe sometimes even 5 times. But the amount of hours required, you have to be doing stuff on your own as well. So this is a guy that coaches now at the pro level, has played at every level as well. So he was there. He was there developing his skills on his own, working on getting better. So that's something that we encourage everybody to do it all the time. Go out and practice. Be real about what you are not very good at and just put in the time, put in the reps, right?
Yeah,
Especially as a goalkeeper.
absolutely. And again, I want to make it a parenthesis in this is that I go and, I watch soccer from all levels and I see a lot of soccer and I go and I see a lot of players that show up to practice for whatever day or level that they are. And unless the coach tells them, okay, boys or girls, this is what we're going to do today, you would stay seated over there 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes doing absolutely nothing towards your own craft.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait for the coach to tell you, okay, let's start for you to engage, especially in this generation that spend 15, 20 minutes on this, that it's not going to help you improve in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Those 30 minutes, you multiply it, 30 minutes one day, 30 minutes another day, that is work that you do extra in working and passing, receiving, long distance shooting, working on your stance or your footwork. Anything that you could do uh, uh, 30 minutes at a time by three. I mean, you put this an hour and a half extra that you put in of work on top of what you do
That's
with
another session.
another session on your own. It will make huge dividends in your game. Uh, you know, you have to have also self-evaluation and say, hey, this is something that I struggle with. Maybe you're not going to get everything from your coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, you expect the coach to this to break you down and to make you into the next top star in the world. But very few young players right now take ownership of their own craft. If I don't succeed, it's because you did not teach me. If I do well, it's because maybe this guy teach me. But it's not reality. So take those extra minutes, work on something. Could be as simple as passing accurately, 10 yards, 15 yards with both of your feet to uh, striking a ball along distance in the air at a certain height, hit a certain texture. That's something you could do on your own. You don't have to wait for your coach to get you started and able for you to start switching your channel from getting off the car, sitting in the bench, and then going and playing. Come with a mentality to start right away, something that you want to improve every day. And like you said, that would be an extra session if you multiply 30 minutes, if you train 3 times a week. 30 minutes extra that you could do on your own when you show up early could make a huge difference in your development.
Huge, huge difference. And also because kids get bored nowadays, right? But guess where the real development is? It's in the boring tasks. It takes a lot of repetition. So, oh, but I don't feel motivated to do it. Well, that's another myth as well. You don't have to feel motivated. You have to develop the discipline to do it, and it's not always going to be a lot of fun. It a lot of times it takes the boring tasks that will master the skills.
There's 3 stages of development, and that's something that I use as a formal physical education teacher that I transfer now coaching as a pros, is the 3 stages of development, which is the cognitive, the associative, and the autonomous stages of development. A lot of the young players right now are in the cognitive stage. That they say on average it takes 1,000 hours of a particular skill for you to master it. 1,000 hours. From there, you go into the associate, where it doesn't require as much time because you have mastered a lot of aspects in the cognitive stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe less hours, but it's a little bit less coaching, but a lot more self-evaluation of yourself uh,
Mm-hmm.
for you to get that skill. And then it becomes the autonomous. That is like, for example, the Steve Curry's that he could close his eyes from half court and throw a ball, and he puts it in automatic because he
Yeah.
has muscle memory. Yes, he has repeated that motion so many times that he could do it with his eyes closed. Players could hit a ball so many times that your muscle memory from what you learn from the cognitive to the associative level, it becomes automatic, which is the autonomous level. And that requires a lot of time of work. So 3 times a week, it's not enough. 30
And
minutes
you can't
extra, not enough.
skip, right? You can't skip stages. They are progressive, so you only get to the next if you've mastered the prior.
Correct.
So, like, kids, the young adults, everybody listening, please rewind the last minute or two here, and please pay attention to the stages of development. It takes time, effort, hours and hours. That's one of the things that I love talking about in this podcast is for you to get to a high level in whatever you do. I'm not just talking about soccer goalkeeping specifically, in anything. To be a better teacher, to be a better doctor, lawyer, engineer, or whatever your field may be, you need hours, you need repetition, and you need a lot of self evaluation as well to know where you are. One analogy that I always use with kids is when you go somewhere, you pretty much put it on the GPS. But to put it on the GPS, you need to have a starting point. So if
Yep.
you don't know where you are starting from, you
Mhm.
never get to where you want to go. So you need two references. Where am I now, realistically, and where do I want to be? And it's not just, oh, yeah, that's where I want to be. Okay, that's great. But if you're not realistic to where you are now, the likelihood of you getting to your goal is not very high.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of signal in that journey to get from
Yeah,
point A to point B. You're gonna get
yeah,
lost.
yeah.
So
And how
unfortunately,
about on Claine? How about on the academic side? How about on the English proficiency? You've you went to New York, you studied, now you're in college, you're playing, you're doing very well on the field. How are you doing in the classroom? How's your English? How are your grades? How are you doing?
well, grades were good. I am not one of to say and raise my hand. I was a straight A student. That's a lie. I was
Yeah,
not. But my motivation is to have the grades enable for me to be eligible to play.
yeah.
My goal was to play. So I had to be a B student, or back in the day, it was like a 2.0 student you needed to be. And I managed to be a 3.0 student. I was not a 4.0 student, but I was not at the cutting edge of 2.0, but I was a 3.0 middle, I was a B student, B plus student, enabled. But my motivation was to be able to stay eligible to play my 4 years.
Okay.
Can't play, scholarship is over, and I'll be back in Costa Rica, fail without a degree, without playing. But this time, that offer that was on the table is already gone. Uh, a year has went by. I was basically going back to start from zero, looking for an opportunity to play soccer. And I said, I'm already here. I'm already committed. I am going to go the whole way. So my grades were good. Didn't fail any class. Didn't have to go to summer school to any class. Um, and they were good enough. And my English got better over the years. Where now, when you get into the upper division classes, where you actually have like public speaking and speeches and stuff like that, and writing essays and writing my dissertation, et cetera, et cetera. My English was good enough for me to earn my double degree because I graduated with 2 degrees with liberal studies with a minor in cultural anthropology. So
Oh, wow.
I took full advantage of my scholarship because my parents didn't have the money to pay for the fees as an international student, which is higher than
Oh, yeah, it's double the price. Yeah.
and the school was willing to pay for that. So I graduated college in 3.5 years. And then the half a year that I had some money left, and that's when I decided to get my teaching credential. Just take full advantage of it, and then from there, I graduated um, in 4 years, or 3.5 years, but the 4 years I graduated with a double major and my teaching credential when I finished college. So,
Wow. Wow. And again, guys, for whoever is listening here and whoever is willing to learn lessons from people that have done it before. So he comes to the US on a full scholarship, being from another country that doesn't really speak the language. So there's a lot of factors that people don't take into consideration, really, how hard it really is coming from a different culture, different background, different everything, even the measurements. We all use the metric system everywhere else, and here they use like feet and inches and all of that, like getting used to all of that, plus translating things in your head. And something that you said that really stuck to me now is taking full advantage of my scholarship. So the fact is, someone is willing to pay for your education. It's a sense of gratitude that you have, that
mhm,
I was giving this opportunity and I'm going to make the best out of what I have. I
mhm,
am doing basically my best to graduate with a double major, being a teacher already, having the credentials and all of that. So what would you say, how much would you say that you changed from that guy that first came to New York to the guy that graduated 4 years later? Because there is a whole process of development, personal development, soccer development, academic development, like you name it. So who is Claine 4 years after he comes to the US? Who is the one that graduated?
Um, I would say that one of the biggest things is that knowledge is power. Whatever it is, whether it's in education, whether it's in football, whether it's you're an astronaut, electrician, whether you are whatever, if you have the knowledge of a particular subject, it really changes your perspective of life.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, at least in my country, my neighborhood, did not have, to this day, a lot of them don't have that opportunity to expand your brain to knowledge and learning. It's just doing, we're like ants. You work at a refinery, you do things that is just base skill, but there's not a lot of critical thinking, not a lot of analyzing. And that really opened my view, my worldview, not only personally, but of the rest of the world,
Yeah.
of how things are perceived when you have an educated knowledge in your database. So it did it
Mm-hmm.
change a lot. It was very naive, very simple in my thinking. Now I could actually pause and look at a situation and make a critical thinking and an assessment of it before making a decision. As we
Mm-hmm.
call it, I was equipped to make an educated decision in a lot of my decisions in life that I didn't have before. That it was just I do it because I feel like it, or I don't do it because I don't feel like it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot in 4 years.
You go from acting more out of instinct to actually evaluating your decisions.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. So you graduated, and what's the next chapter? Where do you go playing wise, coaching wise, national teams, and all of that? What's happening now in your life?
In my senior year in college is when Major League Soccer started here, 1996.
Was
So
Chris already the coach at Cal State LA back in the day?
no, it was Leonardo Cuellar.
Oh, okay, 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 yeah,
Leo Cuellar was my
yeah.
coach.
Okay,
Uh,
sorry.
um, and that is when the league started to develop opportunities to go to tryout. 1996 was difficult because for a young player or for all the players in the United States, because the league was starting and the goal of the league was to bring awareness of this beautiful game into the country. So
Yeah,
what they would do is that they would bring a lot of well-named, known players around the world
yeah.
uh, to be in those franchises so people could come, I want to go see my local hero or my country hero into the country. So if you're a Mexican, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, most likely you would play in teams like Los Angeles or San Jose, which
Mm-hmm.
demographically has a lot of people from those countries. If you
Yeah.
were Italian or Irish, you would go to teams like New England or New York because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of base of those players over there and so forth and so on. That's how it was. So as a young goalkeeper trying to open doors, it was hard, but there was one coach that followed a little bit of my career, my junior, senior year, and he invited me to go for a tryout on the LA Galaxy back in the day. So, young goalkeeper, wow. I already graduated college, I already completed my goal in education, but now I get a second opportunity to try to make it as a player. And unfortunately,
Now I'm actually thinking about trying out.
yeah,
I'm not
trying out.
gonna sit in the stands.
No, but the words of the coach were still in my head. If you don't
Still
go,
there.
shoot to the stars. Went to the Galacticos, go shoot to the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went, and it was difficult. I did not make the team per se because by the time at that time, the franchise goalkeeper was a goalkeeper known by the name of Jorge Campos.
Uh,
Impossible to play.
enough said there. Yeah.
Uh, uh, and then what they would do is that they would hire a top coach, the top college coaches in the United States to be either the head coach or assistants of these top franchises. And those coaches would bring in the top college players for them. And in
Oh,
my
okay.
case, you know, the coach at the time brought in a lot of coaches, players from UCLA or from Cali. You went to a small school versus UCLA, not much chance. So I was sent to play in El Paso, Texas. And I played in what is called the USL Pro now. Back then, it's called the A League.
Mm-hmm.
I played my most of my soccer career there in El Paso, Texas, for a team called El Paso Patriots, and that's where most of my playing career was in the second division here in the United States.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How it all how it all goes, right? One thing leads to the next, and it's the connection, and it's the coach.
Right?
So, what would you say, Claine? What advice would you give to someone that sometimes they don't feel like it's just a tryout or it's just a practice, it's just a game. You never know who's watching, and you never know where that might take you.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone that maybe they're going through a hard time right now and maybe they're like, I don't really feel like doing anything.
Well, I would say that you said a very key word that I use myself in a lot of things is that every time you step on the field, whether it's practice, a pickup game, an official game, whatever it is, enjoy it and do your absolute best because you never know who's watching in the bushes, when the trees, when the back. You never know. In this case, someone used to come and watch and open that door for me to give me an opportunity to try out the LA Galaxy. Didn't work out, but I still have dreams and aspirations of my own. When I went to Texas, which you think is a downfall, and I go, it's not Major League Soccer. You play in a second division team. I still gave it my all. I still did my best. I still tried to maximize this experience because by then I'm already 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
League already starting. You try to navigate through life. Back then they did not pay that much. You're married, you're trying to get a baby on the way, and you're trying to evaluate, is this the
Hard to make a
path?
living.
It's a hard to make a living, but but they want to support your dream to play professional soccer and this or the other. You never know who's watching, and in my case, somebody saw something in me back then when I was younger that I did not see myself, and it opened that door for me to be here in the United States with a full ride scholarship. Even though I was playing college and not playing pro, somebody saw something in me when I did not know, but because they saw that, opened that opportunity for me to have at least the door into the LA Galaxy. It didn't work out. Uh, but then that path continued when I went to Texas. And then from Texas, I decided to retire. I retired as a player at a young age. I was 26. I said, I'm done with this. I need to be a family man and take care of my kids. But I
Yeah.
still had the fire of soccer in me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
That
when
never goes away.
it would never will. I don't think so. Unless the Tour de France comes on in July, June, July, that's when my head kind of shifts a little bit from football into watching Tour de France.
Yeah, yeah.
But I came back to California, and that's when I started teaching in Pasadena. But then I started coaching the local team, the high school team in Pasadena, and started coaching clubs like in La Cañada. At the time, we
So
used to call.
that was your first experience as a coach?
Yes, I
Okay.
started. I started first as a goalkeeper coach in La Cañada. The club used to call La Cañada Flyers.
Oh, that's when I first came to California, yeah?
So I started doing the goalkeepers. They didn't have a goalkeeper coach. They knew that I played goalkeeping at a college level and I played at a pro. It was local. It was close. I was still living in Pasadena, so started coaching in there. And then I took at that moment, uh, like I said, the bull by the horns when I
Yeah.
saw those young goalkeepers who now have dreams and aspirations that I had when I was a kid. I said, I'm going to do my absolute best now as a teacher, as a coach, to
Mm-hmm.
equip them to have the skills that I did not have when I
Mm-hmm.
was a young goalkeeper, when I used to climb the fence and put the ball to the side volleys. I'm going to work on side volleys with them and teach them how to kick a ball, how to strike a ball, how to dive properly, how to win crosses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I made that into my teaching curriculum to equip them with the things that I did not have when I was younger to this young generation of keepers that have dreams and aspirations to go as far as their career would take them. And as a coach, I started making a name. Hey, this guy is decent. It's pretty good as a goalkeeper coach. These goalkeepers are developing and getting better. And or some colleges would come and see these keepers that we had in La Cañada, and they would go, "Oh man,
Who's training him?
exactly. Who's the
Yeah.
coach?" And like, Claine Plummer. So the name started sounding in Southern California that I was one of the guys who were helping a lot of develop good goalkeepers. And from there, I went to the high school. the goalkeepers did well at the high school, and then is when I had the opportunity to coach at UCLA, women, the goalkeepers for Jill Ellis. My name came about, and then I started doing camps with uh, Tony DiCicco, rest in peace. He had a big goalkeeping camp called Soccer Plus, goalkeepers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of top national coaches and goalkeepers that came from all over the nations, and we had a tour of like 12 cities all over the United States. And that is when your name started sounding a little bit more as a goalkeeper coach. And then it's when UCLA women at the time needed a goalkeeper coach, and they reached out to Tony and said, "Hey, do you have any of your top coaches that live in California that would be open to work with me at UCLA?" And they're like, "Hey, you're perfect. You live in LA, yeah. Hey, there's an opportunity to go to
In their
UCLA
backyard, yeah.
backyard," and that's how I ended up going in front of a UCLA woman, which was a very successful journey for me. I was there for 1 year. Uh, we did not do well as far as going to the final. We went to the final four, but we didn't make it. And then when I
And
came back,
UCLA, for the ones listening, I have a lot of people that listen to this from Brazil as well. UCLA is one, if not one of the best programs in the whole USA.
um, and then she decided, the head coach, she decided to become the assistant coach for the senior women's national team under Priya. I forgot her last name. She's Swedish.
Sunday, something like that.
And then a lot of those coaches migrated to do other things. And I went back to my alma mater, which was Cal State LA, as the goalkeeper coach for the men and women's program. So I went back to my alma mater for like 6 months. And 6 months later, I get a call by a good friend of mine by the name of Sasha van der Most. Uh, Sasha van der Most van Spijk, to be correct, that they're looking for a goalkeeper coach for the academy of Chivas USA, uh, the old franchise from Major League Soccer, and that's when I made the transition to college to Chivas USA,
To the pro youth academy.
the Pro Youth Academy. And then the Pro Youth Academy was there for like a year, and then there was a shift in the head coach of Chivas USA. New coach came in and decided to staff his the first team with the top coaches from the youth, because he believed in bringing up young players, and a lot of the players that were coming up into the franchise were the top players from the academy. And I became the goalkeeper coach for the professional team of Chivas USA, who today is, in a way, as franchise wise, LAFC, the club
Mm-hmm.
today. Uh, Years later, it became LAFC. Plus, that's when I got my foot in into professional coaching at a high level with top goalkeepers here in the United States, and that's how it
And
started.
we'll dive into that journey, but right before we do that, when you first start coaching, you basically start to recognize yourself in the young kids. And I hear that from a lot of coaches. I want to basically coach my old self
Hmm.
and give them the information and the knowledge that I have now that I didn't have back in the day. So that is one of the reasons why I started the 1% club. Is I growing up, I played two sports. I played soccer and I played tennis, and I didn't have the discipline to stick through the hardships. I would always, when soccer got tough, I would go and play tennis. When tennis got tough, I would go back to play soccer. So, my advice to my old self would be to develop the discipline and to be persistent. Coach Julio gave you very, very great advice when you were young that stuck to you. What advice would you give to your young self if you were that one that has dreams and has aspirations of making to that level here in the US?
Well, something that I use for myself, for my kids, and anyone that I know. Hard work would always beat talent when talent doesn't want to work hard. That's something that I repeat a lot. I come across a lot of talented athletes,
Mm-hmm.
good. They're God gifted. Like, man, I look at kids today and I go, man, I wish I had half of the talent that you had when I was growing up. But because they have that God given talent, a lot of them are very inclined of not working hard because things come easy to them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some players that don't have that God-given talent, or players that don't have that God-given talent. But because they have that hard working rate and never give up, I'm going to give my best, they get to have equal or even better or longer career than those God-gifted, talented athletes. Because for pure work and determination and discipline, that when the tough gets going, I'm going to get even tougher, they get to find a lot more success than those players that are God-given talent. You know, it's easy for them to juke players and take them on and do all these things. They could dance. It's like a look at them. It's like a ballet. So easy for them to come. But when the tough gets going, when they're not disciplined in how to take care of themselves, they train in ethics, they train in habits. Those players that have less but have more grit and discipline, they get to equal or surpass those that are God-given talent. So work hard because that's the only thing that's going to allow you to take you through those tough moments. Because the easiest thing that we could do in life, that's the easiest thing, is to quit. It's the easiest thing. I stop.
Doesn't
I,
take anything.
I'm done. But the problem is that the more you do it, the more easier it become.
Mm-hmm.
Quit. I stop. And you that in life, work, relationships, anything that you find a little obstacle is easy. I quit. I'm going to try to find an easy way around. And sometimes there's no easy way around. You got to climb that mountain, even though it's tough because it is there. But if you want to make it and find that goal that you're looking for, sometimes you have to make those sacrifices and push through. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you for that. And now you're coaching at the pro level. You've reached the dream, the next dream, right? Us growing up in those countries and that culture, you have a dream of becoming a pro footballer. And the second dream is if you can't make it as a player anymore, and once you start coaching, the next dream is to become a pro coach.
mhm.
So you get that you're coaching for the first team. What's the biggest difference that you notice with professional athletes and back when you were working with the academy and even college? What is one thing that nobody tells people about the pro level? What it takes to get there?
I honestly, I would say to have your goals um, in front of you is something important. This is what I want. And it's no different than a young athlete having those goals that they want to be XYZ as far as their as a player in their career. Coaches have the same thing too. Um, the playing part did not go as far as I wanted, even though I played in my national team. I played in my youth national team. I was able to play collegiately, which is a dream for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Uh, I had a short career as a professional goalkeeper, but now as a coach, I would say that the passion that I had as a player, I translated in my passion to help other people become better.
Mm-hmm.
By them becoming better, I become better because I have to finally understood that every goalkeeper, which is my specialty, is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn how to maximize this goalkeeper through training. How can I squeeze out the most out of this goalkeeper through training? So I have to find tricks of how to convince this player this is what you need to do in order for you to get here, which is
Mm-hmm.
not very easy.
Yep.
Uh, it's hard as a youth because sometimes the young goalkeeper doesn't see the end of the tunnel or doesn't see the purpose of what you're trying to do. And when you have an older player that have seen everything, that had a lot of coaches in their career and had a different obstacle in their career, now I come in and say, hey, I want you to be open to do something completely different that you haven't done in your entire life. That's even harder to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Breaking
But
patterns, paradigm shifts, and all of that.
all that jazz. But I use a lot of my teaching education and my experiences by convincing a player or a student, hey, it's good for you to run a mile. It's good for you not to eat. It's not good for you to eat hot Cheetos versus eating an apple, et cetera, et cetera. Convincing them, I use that strategy in my journey as a coach, and it has been successful. I would say, Talis, that starting from coaching youth uh, to college, to top college programs, to professional academies, to MLS, to be the CONCACAF instructor of goalkeeping for the region from Mexico all the way to Barbados, to be an instructor for FIFA, which is the top entity of soccer in the whole world, coaching for them as well, doing coaching education in different places in the Caribbean, to now coming back at the LA Galaxy for the second with the second team as a development coach for the goalkeepers, and now having this opportunity this at this point in my career. Let me put that Real Salt Lake Academy as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that and now coming back here in LA and given the opportunity to coach at a big club, which is LAFC, in my background where everything started as a player, because
Mm-hmm.
the facilities where we train at LAFC is in the old space where the dorms were at Cal State LA, where I came as a freshman back in 1992, 93.
Full circle.
Full circle back again here. I would say that the journey is not over for me, but there's still a lot to learn. I still have a lot of passion to help develop goalkeepers. It's fun. I don't think it's a job for me, and that's when I consider a success. When you could do a job, but you don't see it as a job. I go out there and have fun every day. You know, get compensated for doing something that I love to do. It's a dream come true for me. So
What's
I'm not
better than that?
I'm not sure if it answers your question, but that's where I'm at right now as a coach. And right now, I'm entrusted with the top goalkeepers of the club to develop them to see if they could make the jump into the first team. And I'm having quite fun doing that.
Before we get into where you are now, the LAFC journey, I wanted to talk a little bit about being the instructor for CONCACAF, for FIFA, for traveling, for helping others, for teaching others as well. What's the importance that you give? Because it is still Coach Julio taught you something that stuck with you forever. So when you go out and you teach other coaches, what message is the most important to you? Is it how to develop great goalkeepers, great people, a mix of everything? How and also if you can talk us through like going around the world, teaching other people about something that you love. It
Mm,
doesn't feel like a job. It feels like it's a dream come true, but also comes with a lot of responsibility because you are someone that not only the coaches look up to, but especially the players.
mm,
What the words of advice that come out of your mouth carries a very different weight than someone like their local coach, what we were talking about earlier, that oh, I want to listen to this guy because he's the LAFC coach, but I don't want to listen to my local guy. So talk us through that. I'm sorry, I kind of went all over the place with
mm.
the question.
Yeah, no, I think for me it was a very humbling experience because you go to a lot of these countries, especially countries in the Caribbean, and it goes back to what we talk about how it feels. You know, when I grew up, it was dirt and more dirt than grass. If you see a patch of grass, take a photograph because that's the only piece you're gonna see. And how privileged a lot of players have here today with good fields and good, conditions and requesting, are they going to water the field at halftime? And, if not, it's too hard. Should I wear studs or hard ground shoes? I mean, you even have the option of what kind of shoes you want to wear, and you have multiple of them. Um,
You never saw my electric tape.
Back in the Caribbean, they don't have that, Dallas. They don't have nothing. They don't have much.
Mm-hmm.
Some countries, and I go, my God, they love this because it's harder, but they have the passion to become the best that they can and represent their country and be the best football player that they could be. And they use the little that they have and they squeeze out every opportunity they have. I would say that 90% of the people that I encounter coaching, like I said, I'm coaching coaches how to coach.
Yeah.
90% of them work as a butcher or work in the market. They're not professional coaches.
Mm-hmm.
The infrastructure of football in their country does not give for them to just live out of football.
Yeah.
So they have their normal job and they take time from the normal job to learn and able to help other players in their particular country to become better. That is passion,
Mm-hmm. That's for coaching from the heart.
passion from the heart. Uh, Here, in the way things are set up, a lot of it is set up. You coach to play, and you're paid to play. A lot of the coaches here can make a living out of just coaching, even at the youth level.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are in the seniors. Some of them are the coaches of the national team. They still work at a bank or work at a this or work at the other. They don't have the field conditions. You know, this that we're talking here right now, this is automatic. Every kid here in America, in a way, I would say every kid, but not everybody, has access to a laptop, a
Mm-hmm.
computer, a cell phone. They don't have such thing over there. They have the pen and the pencil and they take notes and they take a photograph of the PowerPoint that you're making. They make the best of what they have. But at the end of the day, they love what they do and they're there to learn and they're hungry. They're hungry for knowledge, hungry for knowledge. And that fuels me to try to give the best that I can to make an impact in them as much as I can so they could help another generation of players in years to come. They don't have much. They do the best that they can.
Do you feel it's the because when you were talking about that, to me, it feels the same when you're coaching a kid, or even it can be an adult, that they might not be the most talented guy, but they have grit. They want to, they're hungry. How do you view that as a coach and also as an instructor? Because what you're saying is that the guys there, they have passion, so they're hungry. So whatever it comes out of your mouth, you know that they're going to apply, they're going to try. And oh, yes, I'm doing this because I want to help more kids for whatever reason. Some kids to just be off the street, some kids to have a better opportunity, or whatever the case may be. But is it the same for coaches and for players? Is it that guy that you go out of your way as a coach because they are someone that, oh, yes, if he's hungry, if he wants to learn, I'm going to do even more for them?
Yeah. I uh, I see it all the time because a lot of these coaches, when you go representing CONCACAF or FIFA to do a course, it's a week course that we have. A lot of these guys have to take time off from work, take a week off from work, no pay, and able to sit in a classroom and put that responsibility on me to teach them something.
Mm-hmm.
When they are working there, when they are there at the course, they're not working, they're not earning a living. And
Not only they're paying to go, they're not getting paid.
so it puts a lot of weight on me that, man, I want to make their time worthwhile. And you could see through experience, uh, through the questions that they make or how engaged they are in the training, you could say, you know what, this person could go very far if they give the opportunity. You know, there's some goalkeepers. Actually, it brought me memories of a goalkeeper in Nicaragua. I went to do a course in Nicaragua. Awful conditions. The field was like, oof, this is the best field we have out there. Uh, Complex where they have like three, four fields. This is the best one. I was like, okay, we got it
Uh-oh.
right there. Like better
Yeah.
you than me. But in any case, I remember talking to this goalkeeper and just how he went about it. He was only 23 years old and he was ready to quit as a player and just be as a coach. I'm like, you know what? I think you still have a lot of you to still play this game, man. Really? I'm like, yes. You're too young to retire and you're too good to give up your talent. Just, and he kind of thought about it. And then, like 8 months later, I saw in the news that he became champion in one of the clubs in Nicaragua. I was like, no,
Oh, how amazing is
he
that?
went back to play. And then I communicated, like, did you play? He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Start playing again. So you could see through some people that through their either their eyes, their mannerisms, the questions they ask, how they go about things.
How engaged. Yeah.
You could identify, you know what, this person, given the right opportunity, they could do a lot in the sport, given the opportunity. And some of them have become good coaches. Some of them, like this guy, went back to play, and he's still playing. He's what, 30 years old now, and he's still playing as a goalkeeper. He hasn't given up the gloves. That fuels me that I was able to impact someone like the way they impacted me years ago with someone who probably didn't believe in himself or no one saw it in him. I was able to see it in that short period of time that, hey, you can still play this game, man. You're too young to retire. So you could see it. And there's some goalkeepers that, because we bring in active goalkeepers to do the demonstrations of the drills that we're doing.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
some of them went on to become the starting goalkeepers of their national teams in the particular
Wow.
countries and play professionally. So you don't know how you can affect someone um, with your words or with your actions, or they see the passion in you.
Mm-hmm.
And it exudes and it transmits into them like, you know what, I believe that, man, I could do this too. So, yeah, I see it all the time. And I hope that I continue to see that more often. That just your presence or your words or your knowledge or whatever you have to spread, or even a hug or a tap on the shoulder can make a difference in somebody's life and spark something for them to extend their career or give them the opportunity to get the knowledge to affect other person moving on in their particular circle of life. So.
And just change their perspective a little bit more. Maybe that's all they need. They
It
just
is. It is. We could look at the cup half empty, half full. Some people could see that as murky. As you can see it as clean. Some people think they're done. I think as you have more to give into yourself. Uh, and again, you never know who or when will come and cross your path and just change it. But your heart and your mind has to be open to receive it, because it's not open to if you're not open to receive it, opportunity will come in front of you and you will
you
not even
can't
see it.
see it. Yeah.
Can't see
Yeah.
it.
Your radio is off. You'll never tuned into that radio station.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So if your heart is open and and your mind is ready to receive, you will see opportunities come your way that could spark something in you to take you to wherever you want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Claine, your journey took you all over the place. We don't have the time to go into each one of them specifically, but take me through now uh, the feeling of coming back home, going back to your old stomping grounds, California, Cal State, LA, where you are coaching now at LAFC2 uses, like you said, uses the facility of Cal State LA. So it's a very familiar place. Coaching now, basically, where you grew up, developing players to go to the first team. What's a day in the life of Claine Plummer now? How do you feel? How blessed do you feel to still be doing and be doing again where it all started for you?
Yeah, back in 2022, I thought my journey as a professional coach would come to an end. My contract ended with the LA Galaxy, and there was no negotiations of bringing me back. They were moving in a different direction. And the University of Santa Barbara, the coach, reached out to me because I coached his son at the LA Galaxy in the professional team. And they found out that I was not part of the club, and he reached out to me right away and said, "Hey, if you open, Santa Barbara is not a place, not a bad place to live.
At
Uh,
all.
we have a state-of-the-art stadium. We have good fan base, and this or the other." And I was convinced, if professional soccer is not the thing for me right now, this is probably the best thing. And in California, I didn't have to move much, and I decided to take that opportunity, and I went to become the goalkeeper coach at the University of Santa Barbara in the fall of 2023, 22.
22. Yeah.
So we went through the whole fall. We got knocked out in the first round of playoffs by UC Irvine. We go on break, and then January 20th, 2023, I get this email by the head coach of LAFC, Steve Cherundolo, asking me if he understands that I work at the University of Santa Barbara, but I think we have a great opportunity for you to come and develop our goalkeepers here at the LAFC. And my eyes got big, and I'm like, man, brother still got it, man. The group is still there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I'm
so
still in the game.
still in the game like me. Wow. Yeah, I took it with a lot of humility, with a huge honor, because they have options all around the world to bring in someone to take that job. And there's something about that, what I did, whether we were rivals or were word of mouth or whatever. It came to his attention that there was this guy that is in Santa Barbara right now that I think he could be a perfect fit to do this particular job. And to get that email, I had to like take a double take, and I thought it was a spam. And I looked at it,
Is he talking
and
to me?
I really, yeah,
Yeah.
and I replied right away, and yeah, I accepted the position. So I was basically in Santa Barbara for like 6 months, 7 months, and then I moved and I took the job in February 2023 at LAFC, where I am today, working alongside top coaches, watching top players like Hugo Lloris and Giroud and Bawanga and all those guys, see them day to day. I can't believe that someone like me from humble beginnings, where I have to put tape on my shoes, I could just walk into the locker room and say, "Hey, size 12, please. What do you want? Studs or you want copas or predators?" I'm like, "What? Anyone that fits." Where my toes are not like this, and
Yeah.
I am extremely blessed and grateful for this opportunity, and I am doing my absolute best to take this knowledge and this charge that the club gave me to develop this new generation of goalkeepers for the club, and I'm grateful for that.
So amazing. So
Um,
amazing. Living, literally living the dream, doing what you love. That to me is the definition of success is exactly what you said.
Alice, you've been around my humble beginnings when I was coaching in that club of FC Golden State from the beginning. If I tell a lot of people my story, like I'm telling right now, they don't believe me.
Mm-hmm.
They would look at me and say, "Man, you full of crap. You making
Mm-hmm.
this up." But it only takes people that knows me from way back then, of everything, all the ups and downs, obstacles, heartbreaks, good times, bad times, crying, this or the other, to today, that would say, you know what? This is absolutely true. This is 100% true of everything that has happened in my journey to this point. I don't know how far God is going to take me. I'm sure He's doing this for a reason. But if I look back from where I am, where I was back in the days, and back in 1989, to where I am today at tender age of about to be 53 years old, still considered to do a job in a professional club where they have so many options, that for me is no words, no words.
No
So
word. It's hard to describe because it's the feeling that you get. We're coaches. We love what we do. It fills you up.
that's
It's something that's very difficult to get anywhere else. And you are the same. I've seen you coach. We've played against many times, played with, and you are the very type that when you are out there, you can see it in your eyes that you are enjoying so much. And those are the things that make us lose track of time. You
mm,
can be there for 1 hour, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. You're like, what?
yeah,
It's already over?
yeah.
So you do it really, you do it from the heart. And when you have so much energy coming out, it radiates into every direction. And coaches can pick up, players can pick up, parents. So everybody watching, they feed off of that energy. And that's something that I've learned a whole lot from you is when you're out there, you are out there. You are
Mm,
100% focused in what you're doing and you're giving your all. And that
yeah,
that to me is amazing.
thank you. I mean, I have a different approach. For those who know me, I use a lot of humor in coaching. Uh, uh, Goalkeeping is a very special, but also very stressful position. So I take away the stress of the position in training and would bring in a lot of humor. For those, if they could put a mic or a camera on me and during training session, they might think, man, this guy is serious. because it's always cracking jokes. It's always doing stuff. The intensity is still there, but I have a different way that have worked for me that by using humor, it takes away the tension of the position and it allows the goalkeepers to relax and perform best. We play a position that like I said, you could be a hero or a villain in 2 seconds, and every mistake that you make, it could be amplified. Little Johnny could miss 50 goals. We make one mistake, and the keeper this and the keeper that, and the keeper this and this, the keeper that. Especially at the U level, where they play the position not to make mistakes. So when that mistake happens, it's amplified. They can't handle it. So I use a lot of humor into that. But yes, man, it is fun. It is fun, and I keep I will never change. Take it or leave it. Claine Plummer, it is how it is. But yeah, it is a dream what I do.
I love it. I love it. That's absolutely the definition of success to me. So, Claine, when you were talking about earlier that you went to the tryout and you didn't really feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not as good as these guys. Um, a lot of times I feel like in life, we all, in general, we second guess ourselves a whole lot. We believe that, oh man, but that person can do it. I'm not sure I can. They feel like hesitant a little, or they have some sort of fear into going full in. So, what advice would you give someone who doesn't fully believe in themselves, like the guy that was ready to quit from Nicaragua, that you say something positive and all of a sudden he's still playing, he's still going? What advice would you give to players, to maybe coaches, maybe someone going through something right now that they don't fully believe they can do it? And from your experience, what you just said, coming from humble beginnings, moving to a different country, doing what you love, being very, very successful at it, what advice would you give people?
Uh, I would say self-belief. Um, there's going to be a lot of situations or people who don't share your vision for your life. And, as they call it, there's going to be a lot of haters that they're going to say anything adverse because they don't see it in themselves. So it's hard for them to see it in another person. So if you do not have a strong will and a self-belief in what you are doing, it's very easy for you to navigate elsewhere and stay away from the target or your goal. So self-belief, and when you have that self-belief, you have to work alongside so that self-belief could become a reality. You gotta be realistic that I want to be this, but I need to work at this. So when I get here, I am ready to be the person that able to acquire that goal. One, I like to look at a lot of examples, whether it's from movies or from other sporting events. Excuse me. And I cannot remember her full name. I know her first name is Rose, and maybe you could Google it. She's an MMA fighter. She's in the lightweight MMA fighter, and she is fighting the champion. And they're announcing in the red corner such and such and such, and they're doing the movements, and then they announce the challenger. And the challenger, she's going after the champion. All you could hear her saying, "I am the best. I am the best. I am the best. I am the best." You
Her
can
self
remember,
talk, yeah.
"I am the best." And the commentators like, but she keeps saying, "I am the best." And she kept moving. She kept repeating it. "I am the best. I am the best." I'm actually getting teary eyed. Sorry from remembering that. And I was like, wow, she believes so much that she's repeating it over and over. There's nothing that was said that would take her mindset that she was at the best at that particular moment.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
started, ba, 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 comes and she chokes her out. Impossible win for her. And she gets up and the guy comes out and interviews her, Joe Rogan. And it's like, hey, how do you feel that you're the champion? Da, 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 da. And she goes, how do you feel right now? And she turns around and says, I am the best. She believed it so much that she spoke it into existence, that she was the challenger, the underdog, playing on a stage that is either make it or break it. And she believed so much that she self-taught herself. what is the word? She psyched herself out. That
Mm-hmm.
when she
Mm-hmm.
got into the fight, she was able not only to beat the champion, but as put her into submission and win the fight. And I looked
Wow.
into what we do in life. We want things so bad, but are you willing to? I'm sure she did not just sit on the couch and say, "Oh, I'm the best," and just show up at the fight and win it. She had to put in the work. She had to learn her opponent. She had to prepare for that particular moment. So when it's time for her to show her best, she was able to perform. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what she did. And that's my advice that I would give every athlete in the world, that work towards your goal, be diligent, be disciplined. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be good days, bad days, challenging days, rainy days, sunny days, days with
You name it.
allergies, whatever it might be. But the goal is to get there to where you want to get. And when you get it, you're going to feel so good about yourself because you know you work so hard towards that goal. So my advice is to have a plan, because the plan is the map. Have a training plan and navigate through it. It's never a straight line. And when you get to that goal, you will look back and say, man, I remember when this, and now I was able to crystallize it. So,
And on that note is my question is relating to my own story. You got a little teared eye there. I always get a little bit emotional too when I tell my story. Is I started the 1% club when I was at the lowest point in my life. I didn't really see light at the end of the tunnel. That's when it was very, very difficult to navigate through basically day by day. I was getting divorced at the time. I was changing jobs, had a lot of debt. It was like everything came at the same time, that it was very difficult. So all I could do was really focus on today, focus on getting through today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'll fight another battle tomorrow. So it is a matter of getting 1% better every day. It's a matter of showing up, and it's a matter of not giving up. That's the lesson that I've learned from the whole time that I would quit earlier and go and play a different sport and go do something else. So I had to learn the hard way. And that to me was December 9th, 2019, going into December 10th. And the reason why I remember so vividly is my birthday is December 10th. And
mm,
that was the day that I turned 40 years old. And it was the worst day of my life at the time, but also became the day that I fully woke up and I decided I will never be the same person again. My goal, my objective from today forward is every single day, I'm going to be a better person than I was the
mm,
day before. And I've been on that journey ever since that day. I've never skipped a day. So, in your life, Claine, was there ever a moment, a turning point where you were like, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if this is what I'm meant to be doing. And like you said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of you will face adversities, hardships. So someone that came from a different country and succeeded and then still doing that, is was there ever a moment in your own life that you were like, man, I gotta find a way because this is tough.
yes. Wow. I would say uh, May 2015, there was an incident that happened in my old club, uh, old club, Real Salt Lake. Things didn't was working out, and some hanky panky went down, and I was end up being let go from the position for something that I did not do.
Yeah.
Uh, at the same time, I needed surgery uh, for my meniscus on my left foot. So I was out of a job. I got hurt on the job, but because they get me out of the job, now the franchise did not want to take care of the surgery. I make a living striking balls on the field. And if I had not in the position to be on my feet to strike a ball,
Can
uh,
work.
it work. So it was it was a 2 for 1, not or 3 for 1, I should say. Not at home in a completely different state, being let go from the position and being hurt would require surgery. So that battle went on for almost a year. Finally, I was able to get the surgery approved, got the surgery, but it was a dark, dark moment where I go, once I recover from this, at least I have my plan B to go back and teach because I have my teaching credential. I could go and teach again. And but I thought my soccer journey was done. I am,
Yeah.
there was no job for me, and the surgery could be done, but that would take another 6 months to recover fully.
Wow.
It was dark. It was a really bad, bad, bad moment where you don't see no light at the tunnel. You question everything you've done at this point. You have your kids looking at you like, "Hey, Daddy, where am I going to get food?" You know what I mean? And they're looking at you for support, and you can't even support yourself. I can't even stand. I can't even work.
Mm-hmm.
The school year, you start applying for work. Literally, I had my leg uh, in a ca- in a cast or wrapped up, you know, sending applications and no schools replying. And then you're in bed by yourself, in pain. It
Wow.
was a moment that you look back and look, what am I going to do? And maybe 3 weeks going into rehab because I had to go to physical therapy.
Yeah.
I get this call by Alfredo Whitaker. Hey, how you doing, man? Oh, great, great, great. Because we met up again back in Dallas Cup. Uh,
The same Whitaker from back in the day.
Same guy. We saw each other at Dallas Cup years later. We saw each other at this time. Now he's living in the Cayman Islands. Today, he is the president of the Federation of the Cayman Islands. And he was working with the referees of CONCACAF. And they use the young upcoming referees as a training ground to referee the games at Dallas Cup. We were able to reunite ourselves a few years earlier again in the same hotel. Crazy. But he just happened to call. How you doing, man? And I'm like, man, and it's not someone that I talk to often. It's like, man, I'm right
Yeah.
now, da da da. And it's like, I was just talking about you because there's someone that they're looking for. I did coaching education for the NSCAA, National Coaches Association of America. And someone in that course went back to the Caribbean and says, "Hey, I heard this guy give his course about goalkeeping, and it's pretty good." And then it just happens to be that the guy who did the coaching education in the Caribbean was retiring.
Wow.
So he find out through this guy that I know this same Claine Plummer that you're talking about. I did not know he was doing courses, so he reached out to me while I was in bed recovering, asking me, "Hey, you are open to do? I know it's not coaching a team or anything like that, but you be open to do coaching education with the CONCACAF?" I was like, "That's the best thing that could happen to me. I can't be hitting balls all the time."
Wow.
And that's how I got in touch with the person in charge of coaching education for CONCACAF in Miami. I sent him my resume. I said, "Man, you would be perfect. You speak Spanish, you speak English, you speak patois. You'd be perfect for this job." And that summer, I end up going to my first course on the island of St. Kitts and Nevis to do my first coaching for
Wow.
CONCACAF. So based that I was new, two officials from CONCACAF came to, make sure I'm doing the right thing and talking, saying
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
stuff. They were blown away. And after that day, I was the instructor for CONCACAF in the Caribbean. And that's how this journey went. I'm telling you, it's crazy. By doing these courses at all of these islands, that's when I went into in Jamaica. And that's how I end up getting to know the head coach at the time is Winfield Schaefer, a German, who was the coach of the national team in Jamaica. That's how I get to know him, and he really liked my philosophy, methodology, and da 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 da. And left it at that. Comes 2050, 2000, that same year in 2015 is the Gold Cup. And the goalkeeper coach had issues for Jamaica, had some issues with his visa and couldn't enter the United States. And he remembered, this guy lives in Los Angeles. The first game was here at the Rose Bowl. No, sorry,
Wow.
no, at Dignity Health. First game was at Dignity Health against Costa Rica, Jamaica versus Costa Rica.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
called me up and said, "Hey, would you be willing to be the goalkeeper coach for us in the tournament?
Oh
Because
my
a goalkeeper
God.
coach can come in. I know you live in LA and you have the knowledge." And I called my boss in CONCACAF and he goes, "Sure, why not? Go."
Wow.
And the coach of the national team of Jamaica.
And guys, for whoever is listening, please, this is the senior national team. This is the Gold Cup for the senior national team.
The goalkeeper at the time was Miller, back up by Ryan Townsend, and the baby goalkeeper at the time was the all-star Andrea Blake from Philadelphia Union. He was the young
Wow.
goalkeeper at the time, and
That's amazing.
we had an amazing run in that Gold Cup. It was the first team in the Caribbean to go to the finals, and we lost the finals against Mexico.
Wow.
Lost the final against Mexico in that Gold Cup, and then in 2017, Jamaica went back again, went all the way to the finals, and we lost the final against the U.S. And that was how, through how life works out, in a dark moment of my life, I get a call because I made an impact doing coaching for the NCAA. He came in, went back to the Caribbean, and says, "Oh, how was the course? Oh, there's this guy by the name of Claine Plummer. He did a good job as instructor." And it came to the ears of the
Wow.
guy who changes my life with my gloves. And said, "I know this guy." He got and called me and says, "Hey, they're looking for someone. You should apply, get the application." Obviously, he gave me a recommendation, da 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 da. And I was perfect for the job. And that's how I came in. And then that's how I connected with Jamaica. If I tell you, they don't believe me.
I've got goosebumps here all over.
And
Oh
that's how
my
it came to
God.
be. Hey, tell us. I'm going to go ahead and go even more crazy. I'm going to not go too far away. 2 weeks ago, I'm there at LAFC. We have our breakfast and people coming in for breakfast. One of our players, Ryan Holland, said, right? He comes in at breakfast and he goes, "Hey, coach, can I talk to you real quick?" I'm like, he goes, "Yeah, what's up?" He says, "My wife knows you." I'm like, "Your wife? Okay." And my sister too. I'm like, "Your sister?" He said, "Did you coach at UCLA?" I'm like, "Yeah, back in like 2006, 2007. With a woman? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You coach my wife." So we go in into the media guide, and I look at it, and I have, and so yep, that's my wife. I'm like, "No way!"
Wow.
And I go, "Wait," and that's my sister. So I coach his wife, his girlfriend at the time, and his sister. I was his coach at UCLA. But before I do this, can I show you this? This is Google the name of this girl. Her name is Rose Namajunas.
Oh, that's the MMA. Yeah.
Check out that video when she's saying, "I
I
am the best."
surely will.
And then I'm going to show you this real quick, Talis. This is like, I still have it on my phone as something recent. This is the UCLA media guide that I had in 2007, I believe.
Seniors 2007. Yeah, yeah.
So I go up into the media and I see the coaches at the time, and that is my mugshot. There as
Oh,
the,
wow, look how young you look.
I still look the same, man. I still look the same. So I go down and I show, Gileles was, the coach at the time. And he goes and he shows me, I said, show me, he shows me the media guy. And right now, this lady right here, that's his current wife.
Wow.
And I go up a little bit more, and that was his sister.
Wow.
I'm like, "No way." Who would think that here I am coaching now the husband or being involved with LAFC?
Yeah,
And at one point so it comes to me that I truly believe in the whole term of, or the phenomenon of 6 degrees of separation. You never know who you know.
you never know.
Never know who you connected to. It doesn't matter what part of the world you are. But like an old uh, general manager that had a Chivas USA said, always do the right things,
Mm-hmm.
do things right, and give 100%. And you will be able to accomplish a lot in your life that you would ever beyond believe. That's another thing that stuck in my head back in the days of Chivas USA. His name is Nelson Rodriguez. He got up on the table and said, "All I ask from every one of you here that work here for this franchise is to give 100%, do the right things, do things right, and give 100%. And who would think?"
Wow. 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 That is amazing. That is such an amazing story. And that goes to show to everyone here, whatever the faith may be. I don't really like to talk about religion per se, but I am a very spiritual person. I believe in God fully, and I believe in his plan and his creation and everything. So when we hear stories like that, how the circle of life takes you and it drags you down and then puts you back up, and people come and you get a random phone call from someone that back in the day gave you the gloves, and it changes your life one more time. That to me is not a coincidence. That to me, that phone call that you got, it was the guy talking to, it was Whitaker talking to you, but it was the message was sent from above, because it was his calling to call you to help you get out of that moment. And like, things start getting into action again, and you get out of the situation. So Claine, my
Alice,
final, yeah, go ahead.
apologies. Here's a Freddie Whitaker. Came and visited me at LAFC.
Oh, no
In
way.
New Jersey. Yes.
Wow.
He was the commissioner for the game LAFC versus Columbus Crew for the CONCA champions. So
Wow.
he was the
What a
representative
story.
president of CONCACAF, and the least that I could do, 2025, this is the guy who started my career as a soccer player and believed in me.
Wow.
Here we are now, here at LAFC, come and pay me a visit. So I made him my jersey with his name, and it's a full circle.
Crazy.
Crazy.
What a beautiful story. Really, really. It's so beautiful to see the afterwards talking about how the unfolding of everything was so perfect to get you exactly where you are today. That's amazing. And something that you said, it's such a small world. It's such like the soccer, the football world is very, very small. Everybody knows everybody. So don't burn any bridges. Do the right thing. Be honest. Be
Mhm.
yourself. Be who you are. And always, it's something I love that you said, is always try your best. Whatever your best is, we sometimes we wish we were in a different position, we wish we were in a better place, we wish a lot of different things, but the reality is we are where we are, and we have to make the best out of what we are given. Be grateful for what you're going through, because one day you're going to see that your darkest, your hardest moment, your hardest point will eventually become your best, will become the turning point. Claine, I cannot thank you enough for being here, for sharing your story. This is amazing. I want to be mindful of your time as well. I truly, sincerely appreciate you taking the time to share stories with us, to so many teaching moments. And is there any final words, anything that you would like to share with anybody listening or watching us here?
No, I want to say, thank you for Talis for reaching out and trying to hear a little bit about my story. You're part of my story and my journey uh, in flesh and blood as we work as young coaches back here in California. And uh, even though that our journey has taken different paths, and now you're in Boston and or Miami, and I'm here, somehow we still find a way to connect. And for me, at the end of the day, no matter your bank account, whether it's a lot or little, no matter your position in life or your role in life, at the end of the day, the only thing that counts is who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And God could give, but He could take away as well. And just enjoy who you are. Don't change who you are. don't change the essence, because at the end of the day, like I said, what the only thing that's going to remain is your essence as a human being. Be a human, help your fellow person, because there's going to be a moment that you're going to have to reach out for somebody to help you. We're not eternal, but I would finish by saying pura vida, which is pure life, which is a term very dear for us from Costa Rica. And just enjoy life. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak with you and see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're still here, if you're still listening to us, almost what, 2 hours later, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. This is why we do what we do here. With the intention of the podcast is to show everybody success doesn't happen overnight. And you have to go through difficulties, adversities, making plenty of mistakes in order to get to your goal. So don't avoid the difficulties. There's always a lesson in it. Enjoy the road that you are on. Enjoy the process and be sure of one thing. It will change. Everything changes all the time. Stay in the fight. One more day, one more battle, 1% better.